Hey Roger, good morning, and also good morning to Will if you happen to be watching. I'm glad to do this little video because there's a couple of reasons that it's a little difficult for me to write all this down. Number one is that I'm not particularly good at numbers. Roger's the man for that. But from an overall concept point of view, I wanted to talk to you about CYC, or the Champagne Yacht Club portion of the Indigo Landing project. And to that end, I've made some notes here. If you don't mind, I'm going to refer to them now and again. But essentially, I think that the CYC, I'll refer to CYC as the Yacht Club portion, that the CYC should be regarded as primarily performing three functions. And the first and most important of those is as an incentive for people to buy the Indigo Landing Resort Program fractionals. So we can regard it as being in the same bed as Indigo Landing and as a sales incentive. It has some other elements that I'm going to discuss, but for example, the incentive package, which we would all regard as being its primary objective, is based around the fact that for every purchaser of fractionals in Indigo Bay, assuming there's going to be 600 of them by the time the project is finished, that is 150 units times 4 fractionals, that we can use the CYC or the boat as an incentive to the extent that we can offer each buyer in Indigo Bay either a week or a portion of a week included in their purchase in Indigo Bay. And the basic numbers kind of work out like this. Their raw cost of taking one cabin for a week, our raw cost to provide that service is about $2,000 for the week. And the retail value of that for a week is approximately $6,000, including all-inclusive. Now, so that means that if we've got 6 cabins times 50 weeks, that's 300 weeks that we've got available to allocate as incentive packages for the Indigo Bay to be able to offer to their clients to close their deals. The other aspect of that is that that is based on a week's charter. Now, for the term from an incentive point of view, it may not be necessary to offer a full week. After all, that's a big chunk of a vacation. That's a real vacation, a week on a boat, 6 nights, 7 days, all-inclusive diving, snorkeling, chartering, fishing, you name it, different locations. So that an incentive package might be even reduced further to perhaps 2 nights and 3 days, in which case we can accommodate 2 of those per week. And if we had to service 600 available units ultimately in the Indigo Bay, then we could do that if we were using it for half a week. So I guess that's the primary point I wanted to make, that if we regard the CYC as being an adjunct to Indigo Bay, we would, from an incentive point of view, we would be like no other. We are joined at the hip with Indigo Bay, and that will become apparent in the quality of service that's provided. Now, for most other big resorts, if they have a sailing or a diving or a water tour aspect to their sail or for their clients, they just normally pass that out to a third-party operator. For example, if you go to any one of these timeshare resorts in Cozumel and you want to go out on a catamaran, they simply pass you on to Fury catamarans and they get a good, healthy commission for doing so. So they have no real interest in developing the relationship between the catamaran clients and the hotel clients. It's simply a third-party issue. Now, in our case, we're going to incorporate them as part of the customer satisfaction process, and in so doing, we're going to ally these people with Indigo Bay on an ongoing, more or less permanent basis, so that we have a much bigger advantage in using the boat as an integral part of the service. The second issue that we want to cover with CYC is the enjoyment factor, and that harkens back to what I just mentioned, that when we're dealing with an enjoyment or an ambience factor, that means that if we are the managers, owners, operators of our waterbound facility or our marine facility, we have a very strong incentive to offer the best, the absolute most enjoyable experience on the sailing, diving, fishing, water skiing, etc. And so because it's an integral part of our process, we can afford to allocate marketing budget to the actual tours and to the actual boat life for itself. Now that does not take place with any other operators that I've seen, so to that extent we have a unique situation. Now I wanted to also mention that when third-party operators take out timeshare or fractional owner guests, they have no what's the word for it? They have no incentive to treat them more special than another retail paying client. So when we have these people in-house, we have much more control over the positivity, the ambience of the whole process. And when I was operating in Thailand and Malaysia, it became apparent to me that the more memorable the occasion, the more feelings were involved. So in other words, people can remember what they, people do not remember what they read, they do not remember what they saw, but you can guarantee that they will remember what they felt for the rest of their life. So if we control the boat and the marine environment as well as the resort environment, we've got fantastic opportunities to create feelings which will bind these people to the Indigo Bay project for the rest of their lives. That's the basic idea. Now the third leg of this, of course, is financial. And I'm just going to touch on this briefly now because it does require a lot of numbers to ascertain the validity of these statements. But there are several issues. If we assume that the boat is a overall support mechanism for creating gross sales for Indigo Bay, then be that as it may, we can generate from the wholesale charge for taking an Indigo Bay potential client out for a 3-day or a week-long tour. For that minimum wholesale charge, if the boat is full with the clients from Indigo Bay, then the boat can sustain itself and pay for its entire overhead from those wholesale charges. There are several other issues though. Number one is that we can sell fractional ownership in the boat itself, which is what we intend to do. Now we're doing the numbers for that right now, but they are extremely profitable in the same way that fractional ownership is profitable for real estate deals, such as the resort. So there's that. The other issue is that if we have fractional owners, to generate income, we can also sell right-to-use packages. Now this is important because these right-to-use packages can be adopted to be used as exit packages for non-buyers from the Indigo Resort presentations. Now that's incredibly important because if we do the good job with an exit package, we have a chance to get back at the cherry several times. Not only that, we're developing a relationship with the client on an ongoing basis, so it's only a matter of time until they actually buy into the resort process itself. So the exit package is something that we would look forward to developing in association with Indigo Bay very closely. The other issue, of course, is that regular charters, both from the resort and from the outside public, are extremely good retail dollars, and they will be applied to the revenue from the yacht club. So that's the three basic premises that we're operating on. Number one, we're a support mechanism for Indigo Bay Resort and sales thereof. Number two, we're going to increase the enjoyment factor by a factor of 100% for everybody involved in the resort and the boating facility. And number three, the financials are just extremely good because there's so many elements that we can apply because of the relationship with the resort. So that's all I wanted to mention at the moment. I hope that this gives a better idea of our overall packaging and planning, and we're looking forward to meeting you in Orlando. And in the meantime, we'll send any paperwork or any documentation that we can that will be helpful to you. So have fun. I'm on the beach here in Cozumel, and I look forward to meeting you. Take care. Bye-bye.